Should be ready to It is about getting that award.
I would like to call to order the January 6, 2026 meeting of the Tompkins County Legislature. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take a roll call of members. Christy Bianconi?
Here.
Shauna Black?
Here.
Travis Brooks?
Here.
Randy Brown?
Here.
Deborah Dawson?
Here.
Judith Hubbard?
Here.
John Hunt?
Here.
Greg Mezzi?
Here.
Rachel Ostlund?
Here.
Iris Packman?
Here.
Veronica Pillar? Lee Shirtliff?
Here.
Mike Sigler?
Here.
Adam Vinson?
Here.
Dan Wakeman?
Here.
Irene Weiser?
Here.
We have 15 members present. We have quorum. Our first order of business this evening, in accordance with the rules of the legislature, is to have Maureen Reynolds here present, and she will administer the oath of office to all legislators for the current three-year term, which expires December 31st, 2028. Maureen?
If I could have everyone raise their right hand, please, and stand. First of all, congratulations and welcome. Look at all these new faces. Do you state your name? Solemnly swear you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you'll faithfully discharge the duties of county legislator to the best of your ability? I do. All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody. The next order of business is the election of a temporary chair. Deborah Dawson,
I'd like to nominate Greg Mezzi as temporary chair.
is there a second?
Second.
I have Adam. Are there any other nominations for temporary chair? I'd like to take a motion to close nominations. Lee?
Second.
Dan? All those in favor of closing nominations, please indicate by raising your hand. Thank you. I have 15 in favor. Nominations are closed. I'll now ask for a vote for the temporary chair. All those in favor of Greg Mezzi as temporary chair, please indicate by raising your hand. Anyone opposed? 15 in favor. Congratulations, Mr. Mezzi.
Okay, well, let's not keep me up here long. I first just want to say welcome to everybody, because it says here on my paper, any remarks, and I guess those are my remarks.
Remarkable.
The next order of business is the election of a chair of the legislature. I will now open the floor for nominations. Iris.
I would like to nominate Shauna Black for chair.
Is there a second? Rachel? Second? Okay. Are there any other nominations for chair? Lee Shirtliff.
I'd like to nominate Mike Sigler.
Is there a second for Mr. Sigler? Randy Brown. Okay. So we have two people for chair. So the way that this is going to work is that we have paper ballots here. And if I may for a second, Katrina, when you get it. There's going to be a top where you write your legislator, your name, you write there on the top. And then you write at the bottom who you are voting for. There are three options: a Legislator Black, Legislator Sigler, or none. If you don't want to vote for either of them, And then what will happen is we will collect the ballots, and the clerk will read out the legislator's name and their vote, and we'll keep a tally that way. Any questions? Great, I'll take half and.
Thank you.
This, I think. Thank you. Thank you.
It's not really a secret ballot when you're at your.
It's going to be read out.
No speech. I folded mine.
Done.
I think I missed a spot where I was supposed to ask to close nominations. So we want to go back and do that. All right. I'm already making mistakes already.
We're going to fire you.
Yeah, I'd like to ask for a motion to close nominations. Moved by Travis, seconded by Deborah. All those in favor of closing nominations, please raise your hand. Great, glad we got that out of the way. Nominations are closed. The clerk will now read the votes.
Legislator Wakeman voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Sigler voted for Mike Sigler. Legislator Vinson voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Packman voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Hubbard voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Dawson voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Hunt voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Mezzi voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Black voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Weiser voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Brown voted for Mike Sigler. We're sticking together. Legislator Shurtleff voted for Mike Sigler. Legislator Bianconi voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Pillar voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Oslin voted for Shauna Black. Legislator Brooks voted for Shauna Black. I have 13 for Shauna Black and 3 for Mike Sigler.
So with that, congratulations, Shauna Black, on being elected our next chair.
Boy, this is the most crowded I have ever seen these chambers, and that is an amazing feeling. So thank you all for coming tonight. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. Thank you to Iris and Rachel for moving and seconding my nomination, and to all of you for your support. I'd also like to thank my family, my wife Margot, my children Graham, Emerson, and Keen. Having served for 8 years, they've grown used to mid-dinner phone calls and the late evening meetings. Thank you for understanding and supporting me. To my colleagues, as we begin this new legislative year, I want to first express my sincere gratitude to each of you for your trust, partnership, and the support you have extended to me. I deeply appreciate your confidence as we step into the work ahead. You'll notice a few changes around here and firsts for this county. We have added 2 new legislators, and now we have a total of 16. I'd also like to acknowledge we have 8 returning legislators and 8 new legislators that represent a beautiful balance of fresh perspectives and experienced leadership. This will be a year of firsts, and I'm really excited about that. Your commitment to a collaboration and service sets the tone for what I believe will be a strong and productive year for Tompkins County. Our county's greatest strength remain to be our people, the staff who carry out the mission of this legislature, and the residents we are honored to serve. This year, my focus will continue to center on county staff, community well-being, and our collective ability to move forward with intention, even in the face of national hardships. We are navigating a moment in which the federal government is pulling back on essential public benefits, cutting programs that support families, senior children, and working people. These losses are not abstract. In fact, they are felt at kitchen tables, in classrooms, community agencies, and in the daily lives of our constituents. And while we cannot control decisions made in Washington, we can control how we respond here at home, with steadiness, clarity, creativity, and resolve. Colleagues, we have important work ahead. I am energized by the partnership we have built, grateful for your support, and confident in our ability to lead this county with integrity, intention, and thoughtful care. Let's begin this year grounded in service, clear in our direction, and committed to moving forward together. Thank you. Okay, next we are going to move on to the election of a vice chair of this legislature. I would like to open the floor for nominations. Travis Brooks.
Madam Chair, I would like to nominate my colleague Deborah Dawson for vice chair.
Is there a second? Great. Judith Hubbard. Are there any other nominations? I would like to call for a vote to close nominations for vice chair of the legislature. May I have a motion to close the nominations? Moved by Greg Mezzi, seconded by Veronica Pillar. All those in favor of closing nominations, please indicate by a show of hands. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Those opposed, please indicate by a show of hands. It's none. Right now, we have Deborah Dawson on the floor to be our vice chair, and all those in favor to elect Deborah Dawson as vice chair of this legislature, please raise your hand. Okay, that is a unanimous 16 votes. Congratulations, Deborah Dawson.
Thank you.
Deborah, would you like to make some comments this evening?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Of course, the chair is the boss, and she is our outward face. And I view my job this year as helping to shepherd and integrate our 8 new legislators. And I'm very excited to work with each and every one of you. I have rarely worked in a group that brought such a wealth and diversity of generational perspectives, education, and life experience. And I'm sure that our legislature and our county will be much richer for all of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now that all the fun stuff has happened, let's move on to the main event, which I know many of you are here for, and that is the resolution that has been brought forward. We are going to move, let's see here, we do not have any proclamations, petitions, or communications this evening. We also will not have an executive session this afternoon. And we're going to move to privilege of the floor for the public. I'm going to read some of the rules for speaking this evening. Number 1, I agree to a 3-minute time limit. Number 2, I agree not to raise my voice. Number 3, I agree not to use lewd, obscene, profane, slanderous, or libelous language, or speak or act in a manner that would tend to incite a breach of the peace. Number 4, I agree not to speak about county personnel matters. Personnel matters include comments about the job performance of named county employees other than elected officials. Number 5, after 3 minutes, I agree to leave the microphone and yield the floor. Transferring time to another person is not permitted. Number 6, I agree to be courteous and not make comments, gestures, outbursts, or other disruptions while other members of the public or legislators are speaking. And number 7, I agree that if I cause a disruption and am asked to leave, I will leave the chambers. If you are in the chambers right now and you would like to speak on privilege of the floor, We should have some blue forms that are located at the table in the back, and you could send those to any of the legislators, and they'll send them up to us. First, we have Dr. Melissa Gallison, and I'm going to start reading some of these names so that we have a queue, and you can line up at the 2 microphones here. Next will be Amanda Kirch-Gessner, followed by Megan Rose. Okay, first is Dr. Melissa Gallison.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak, and congratulations to all of you who are beginning and continuing to serve the residents of Tompkins County. We appreciate your service. I'm speaking in support of the nurses that are the backbone of the healthcare system. Nurses care for and are the eyes and ears of the healthcare system, and it's time for us to care for them. The nurses are available 24/7 at great sacrifice to their family and friends, and very often their health. The nurses continue to serve and be available in conditions that don't always support them. Very often there are not enough people to staff the floors. There are not enough people to implement safety practices, and it's come to the place where we need unions for nurses to have a voice at the table. And although as a profession, nurses have long been reluctant to consider unions as in something important, and as part of the professional education, nurses were encouraged not to unionize. But because of the business model of healthcare, things have changed, and the altruism of nurses has been taken advantage of for long enough, and we really need to support the good work that the unions can provide to help nurses get the care that they deserve, because they're the ones that care for us when we need them, and they're in the background. They're the unseen heroes of healthcare. So I'm standing in support of the resolution and grateful for the union that has stepped forward to provide support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Amanda Kirch-Gessner.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Kirch-Gessner. I live in the town of Ulysses. And I want to begin by welcoming all of our newly elected legislators to the table and all of you who are returning. You've stepped into or back into public service at a moment that is anything but quiet. And I want to ask plainly, are you ready for the real work to begin? That work includes asking uncomfortable questions about power, access, and accountability, not just at the federal level, but right here at home in Tompkins County. Recently, Diane Sarah, a woman I've known personally from a friend of mine who worked at the diner, she just declared her presidential candidacy as an independent candidate. And regardless of whether one agrees with her platform, her presence performs a very important civic function right now. It's going to force the system to show where it suppresses by default. Independent candidates expose how much invisible labor is required simply to be seen, let alone heard. That is not a national abstraction. It is a local administrative reality, and we do a better job here in Tompkins County than anywhere. So I want to ask a few questions. Do we know of anybody challenging Congressman Riley this year? Is anybody going to put their name in against Leah Webb? Does anybody plan to look at running against Anna Kellis? And more broadly, what local offices are coming up for re-election this year? I don't know. Do any of you? And if we don't know, or the answer is no, we should ask ourselves, why? Not rhetorically, but structurally. Like, why aren't people running to be in office right now? And I personally will offer my assistance to anyone here who is listening, who's interested in learning how to gain ballot access as an independent. If you want to run, I will help you figure out how to do it right here in Tompkins County. Transparency is a local responsibility. And finally, you guys have heard me say this repeatedly, we cannot build a center of government building right now. It is the worst thing to saddle the tax base to at this time of economic uncertainty. I'm going to continue lobbying for a jail that I don't want to expand, but we absolutely have to improve the safety up there for the people who are housed there and the people who are county personnel there. This is a non-negotiable. The state is going to force us to keep our jail at a certain operating capacity. We can pretend that it's something that isn't in our purview, but it's absolutely crucial. And if we're going to be bonding anything, the jail comes first. The COG, while beautiful in its envisioning, is not something we truly need. Thank you for stepping into this duty, and I yield the rest of my time. And who doesn't stand with the nurses?
Okay. Next, we have Megan Rose, and then on deck, we're going to have John Tavares, Lonnie Everett, and Ruth Yarrow.
Hello, and thank you for your service. Those of you who have already provided it, and those of you who are stepping into it right now, we really appreciate you. My name is Megan Rose. I'm a longtime resident of Tompkins County. In this new year, I wish you health. But if you should need support in maintaining or regaining your physical or mental health, I hope you will find it at the Cayuga Medical Center, where the unionized nurses are treated with dignity and respect, being listened to when they express their concerns, being paid according to their seniority and expertise, by having benefits which are not shrinking as the corporation they work for grows its profits, and by having fully staffed shifts, where they don't need to take on a second job to make ends meet, or are faced with a shocking level of turnover and asked to train new hires while also caring for an overfull patient load, and where they are no longer intimidated and lied to as they were when they chose to come together and unionize in order to create a workplace in which they are recognized and compensated for the work they do, the sacrifices they make, and the healing and comfort they bring to the bodies, minds, and souls of the patients they care for. Cayuga Medical Center is my hospital. It is my family's hospital. The nurses and staff there have treated 4 generations of my family, from my 90-year-old mother to the birth of our most recent grandchild in the past year. In the past 30-some years, 3 of our 4 children were born there. We have had broken bones set, an emergency appendectomy, which saved a child's life, our hearts and lungs looked after, our mental health strengthened, blood tests, ultrasounds, x-rays, a spinal tap, and everybody's favorite, colonoscopies done there. None of which would have been possible without the care of Cayuga Medical Center's nurses. I am able to be here today because of the care my family and I have received from those nurses who literally put the health and the care in healthcare. My family stands with the nurses at Cayuga Medical Center in their fight for a union which gives them a unified voice and a seat at the table. We are in favor of you, the Tompkins County Legislature, adopting without compromising its strength and intent of its original language, this resolution, which affirms your values and supports the Cayuga Medical Center's nurses' right to unionize. Thank you.
John Tavares.
Brothers, sisters, and allies, thank you for being here tonight. I'm president of UAW Local 2300. We represent Tompkins County Public Library, Finger Lakes Library Service, Ithaca Housing Authority, Bolton Point Water, TCAT, and Cornell. I'm not just here as a union leader, but as the son of a nurse. My mother gave 27 years of her life to this hospital. 27 years of patient care, 27 years of experience, 27 years of doing the job right. And when management decided that they wanted a new image, when cost cutting became the priority, they didn't reward that experience. They targeted it. They cut her pay. They reduced her to her per diem rate. They gave her the worst assignments. They waited and watched and looked for a way to push her out, not because she couldn't do the job, but because she was experienced, older, and cost more. I want to be very clear. If there had been a union, that would not have happened. This isn't politics. That's reality. That's why what the nurses at CMC are doing right now matters so much. When workers stand alone, management holds all the power. When the nurses are isolated, they can be pressured, intimidated, and forced out one by one. But when nurses stand together with a real union, everything changes. Unionizing is not about conflict, it's about fairness, it's about safety, and it's about respect. It means nurses get a voice when staffing is unsafe. It means wages can't be quietly cut. It means experience is valued instead of punished. That's why tonight's resolution matters. The nurses of CMC are asking for one simple thing, the right to organize without fear, intimidation, or retaliation. They're not asking for special treatment. They're asking for the same rights across New York and this county that others rely on every day. And to the members of the legislature here tonight, your support sends a powerful message that this community stands with its nurses, that intimidation has no place here, that healthcare workers deserve dignity, not fear. And to the nurses, you are not alone. UAW 2300 stands with you. The labor movement stands with you. And this community stands with you. Tonight you are standing up not just for yourselves, but for the nurses who came before you and for the ones who will come after you. Stay strong and stay united, because the solidarity is how we win.
Lonnie Everett.
I'm Lonnie Everett, UAW Region 9 International Service and Rep. I've worked on organizing campaigns. I know what it's like to fight a boss for something that you probably know how to do better than the boss every single day. But when you're a nurse, and I have family and friends who are, when March 20th happens, when every day is about a strip down and a decon in your house, because when you have to go to work for a mandatory shift of 13 hours, and you don't have safety protocol in place during a epidemic such as COVID, when the bosses don't have answers and you have to figure it out as the person on the floor, but for somebody to look at you and tell you don't have a right to have a say in how you're gonna be safe every single day, for somebody to look at you and tell you that your safety, your staffing levels don't make a difference, that's ridiculous. As if they know better, as if they can do it without you. Every single person in this room at some point in time, through the grace of God, may have to go to the hospital. I've spent time in the ICU. I know what it's like when you see some of the worst. I know what it's like when I have to comfort my child during March 20th and during the COVID times that her mother was coming home. Because every single day, it wasn't the bosses who gave her a way to do that job. It was her empathy. It was her willingness to sacrifice and stand in where a lot of us could not. So today, not to be long-winded, it's just about support the nurses in their right to have dignity and respect and a say in how they do their job. It's not just about the money. It's the mental anguish. It's the fact that they do face folks who come in who are unstable, that put them in harm's way. It's the fact that we're going to ask them to do things that we would never do ourselves under any type of circumstance, whether it's a Band-Aid or whether you're trying to stop the flow of blood because somebody lost a limb, or from where I come from, the gunshots or the accidents. And there was nothing more devastating than COVID for a lot of them, and a lot of them still carry that. So for you to sit here and act as if their right to organize and have a say in how they're going to work every day, how they're going to take care of you and your family members, the one thing that you can do as a body in here, support them in that.
Also wanted to let you know, we do have some seats up here if there are people that need to sit down.
Sean, there's a lot of people outside that haven't been able to make
Oh,
their
are
way
there?
in yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So anybody that's right there by the door can just push in just a little bit. There's a lot of people
Okay,
upstairs.
that's great news.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing this resolution.
You know what, Ruth, why don't we wait 1 second and let some people file in here? We want to make sure that everyone who made the effort to attend our meeting is able to get in and be part of democracy here. Okay.
Come this way, too.
Okay, go for it, Ruth. Ruth Yarrow.
Thank you for bringing this resolution. The previous speaker said it perfectly. I'm just one person for whom the nurses at the CMC treated me well, with respect, and kept me safe. The nurses deserve the same. They deserve the right for a union with the Communication Workers of America. Thank you.
And just wanted to remind everyone, if you'd like to speak, there are blue cards on the back table. Fill out one and you can give it to any legislator and they'll send it forward. Next, we have Dinea Cole, Matt Sullivan, and Gary Bonadonna.
Hello. I was born in Tompkins County Hospital. Can you imagine? 80 years ago. So it has changed a lot. And I'm very proud to also have become a nurse. And my daughter is also presently a nurse, and my mother was a nurse there. I can tell you the dangers. I worked on the psych unit for 5 years. There are real dangers that we go through, not only just in the ER. And as I think most of you know, the CEOs get paid so much more than us who have to be responsible 24/7 for our patients. The doctors, yes, they make the important decisions, but we are the ones there to observe and to report and take the care of our patients. So I'm here, obviously, to advocate that they have more of a say in their environment and how they are treated and how we respect them and care about them. Thank you so much.
Matt Sullivan.
Hello, I'm Matt Sullivan. I'm president of CSEA 718 for Bangs Ambulance. We started our own union drive a few years ago, and we're engaging with the nurses. We definitely can relate to what they're going through. I think a lot of their dedication and love for this community is weaponized against them to make them endure a lot more than a normal employee should be expected to endure. And they're doing it for us. So I think we need to return that favor and allow someone to advocate for them. I know when we first started out, we did a bowling event, kind of a team building thing. We invited a lot of the nurses to come. And the administration at the hospital got wind of it, that we were asking their nurses to join us at a union event, It was for us, and it was really a team building event is what it was. But they sent a email down to Bangs Ambulance to have our administration tell us to not invite their nurses to union activities. I can read the exact email here for you. Not sure if you knew it, but the union-sponsored event for Bangs Ambulance was circulated to our nurses, something we for sure want to avoid. Any way we can avoid this in the future? Tracy Gates, Senior Vice President, QU Health Systems. So they've been monitoring this situation for a very long time. They're obviously trying to be vigilant against this. They'll say that they want open and fair and free, but that's not true. We all know what's going on here. Support your nurses. Don't listen to the lies, and they need a union.
Woo! Next is Gary Bonadonna.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gary Bonadonna, and I lead the Labor Union Workers United in upstate New York. Locally, we represent workers at the Green Star. Thank you. Thank you. Did everyone hear me? Locally, we represent workers at the Green Star grocery stores, Gimme Coffee, Ithaca Science Center, and the Ithaca Health Alliance and Free Clinic. We're here to support the nurses organizing their union at Cayuga Medical Center. I just want to emphasize a couple things. As a community, we need to condemn employers who union bust, period. And especially, a hospital that fights its own workers and holds captive audience meetings and hires this notorious anti-union consulting firm, LRI. It's despicable. And unfortunately, workers who organize in the private sector, we face union busting and employer opposition all too often. Our union started, just make a point quick to say, our union started Starbucks union campaign in Buffalo and then throughout upstate. And in Ithaca, this was the only city in the whole country that had 100% union density. 3 stores, profitable stores, they all closed after they won their votes. So I'm just making that point to say there needs to be consequences for employers who do this. We support Cayuga United Nurses, and every worker deserves a union if they want one, and a voice at the table and in their workplace. But on a personal level, nurses and the nursing profession, you deserve the world. So we're Workers United, myself, we're with you all the way. Thanks.
Okay, next we have Catherine Sonera, Heather Bretz, and Eliza Benninger.
Hello, thank you. I'm Catherine Cernera, and I am speaking on behalf of the nearly 600 unionized teachers of the Ithaca City School District. The Ithaca Teachers Association strongly supports the nurses of Cayuga United CWA and their efforts to unionize with the Communication Workers of America. As teachers, we know that teacher working conditions are student learning conditions. Through our recent years-long contract campaign, our community has watched and supported us as we fought and won on so many issues that will benefit not only our lives, but the lives of our students. We see this same thinking reflected in the incredibly reasonable rationale that the nurses at Cayuga Medical Center have given for voting to form a union so they can collectively address deteriorating working conditions, including persistent short staffing, which endangers nurses' safety and jeopardizes the quality of care that patients receive. Nurses care about their patients, and when they fight to improve their working conditions, they are fighting to protect the health and safety of our entire community. Our community's health relies on well-cared-for nurses and other medical providers. A supermajority of eligible registered nurses have signed authorization cards indicating their desire to form a union and to collectively bargain for a fair contract. In the ITA, we believe that collective bargaining is the best way to make sure that workers who do a job are able to solve problems related to their working conditions and to advocate for the salary and benefits that will enable retention and recruitment. These goals benefit the workplace as a whole and for stabilized staffing, which serves valuable recruitment, onboarding, training, and outsourcing dollars. We found that open bargaining, where our members and our community could watch bargaining sessions, had incredible advantages beyond closed-door negotiations. Our members could share their stories and make their voices heard. Our community was kept informed about the needs of our teachers and the school district. Our students were empowered to advocate for their needs from our schools. And our union and our employers learned so much about the power of democratic decision-making and collective action. We believe that our nurses deserve the same opportunity to fight for the benefit of our community, and the teachers of Ithaca call on you to pass this resolution.
Bretz, then Eliza Bettinger.
Hi, I'm Heather. I work at the hospital at Cayuga Medical on the med-surg unit. I've worked there for about 11 years now. I really do love my job, and that's the reason that I'm here fighting for it. Let's see, on my unit, we deal with everything from all sorts of infections like pneumonia to cellulitis, from chest pain to recovering from a stroke, really anything you can imagine. We're kind of generalists, and it's not at all an exaggeration to say that what we do is literally life and death. It really is. I'm not being dramatic. That's really what we're doing. On any given night, the number of patients that I have is actually set by leadership. That's something that gets determined by other people, and that's really important because there's excellent research which suggests that the safe number of patients for me to have on a med-surg unit is 4, and for every 1 patient over that 4 number of patients, my risk of hurting them or even worse goes up by 15%. So if I have 6 patients, that means I'm a 30% higher risk than I should be and than normal of doing something really horrible. And so that's why I'm here. I want to protect that number. I believe a union can help us protect that number. I think it's really easy to understand, too, that the more patients you have, the less chance you have to make sure that they're safe and well cared for. I think it's like kind of easy for people to understand that point. And then you imagine me, somebody who worked really hard for my nursing license, contrary to what you've been told. It is a profession. We do work really hard for our license, and we feel like we have to protect it. And it's not just about myself. It's not the fact that advocating for nurses is advocating for my patients. It's about safety. I necessarily care very much about the quality of the work I do and the care that I deliver. And it's not unusual for me to slog my way through a 13-hour shift, woefully understaffed and pitifully under-resourced. I'm not joking when I tell you that the last time I worked, we were fighting over bed sheets. We had to ration our bed sheets to get through to the end of the night. But we're getting new software all the time when we're expanding into new buildings. But so I think that, I know that funds have been given at the county and state level recently, and I would hope that those funds would go to do things like supporting the nurses so they're not too frazzled to care for the patients, instead of this very expensive union busting firm that was flown in from out west. And we're going to win anyway, let's see. I do yearn to care for patients in the way that they deserve. I just want to make that clear. And the worst part is I feel like when I go home depressed, demoralized, depleted, and defeated, I'm giving this situation to another set of nurses. I feel like I should stay and help, but I physically can't do it. I know that people would want the same for their community members, and so I ask you to please support us in this resolution to ensure safe staffing levels and the mental health of our nurses. I think it can't go unnoticed that I know of at least 3 nurses who tried to permanently end their misery recently because they couldn't take it anymore. The fact of wanting to do what we do, but feeling like they just can't take the pressure anymore. So anyway, thank you so much for your time. I really.
Eliza Bettinger.
Hi, I live in the town of Ithaca on West Hill. I've lived there for about 10 years. I'm not connected to anybody who works at CMC or in healthcare here, but I'm coming as somebody who uses healthcare, whose family uses healthcare. A number of years ago, my mom was going through cancer, and she had some long hospital stays. And if you've spent time in the hospital with somebody who's sick for an extended time, it doesn't take very long to figure out that the nurses are what really keep everything going when things are going well. But the doctors are really important in everything, but the nurses are the ones who are there day in and day out and who have the ability to pay attention and know when things are going wrong with a patient, who know how all the systems work, and who are able to get patients the right care they need when they need it. They're just so important. And so if we want a community that has good health care, there's no one I want more at the table determining how that health care works than nurses, because they really, they really just know how it all runs. So I just want to say that, like, as somebody who values good health care for myself and my family, I want nurses at the table at the hospital, and I want them to be well supported. I don't want to go to the hospital and be treated all by traveling nurses. I want people who really know this hospital and this system and this community. So please support the nurses. Woo!
Okay, I have 3 more blue cards. And again, if you're here to speak, there are blue cards at the back table. Feel free to fill out one and send it forward. Rosemary Butt, Mary White, and Lisa Levy.
Hi, thank you so much for this hearing. I'm a 30-year resident in Ithaca. I've been at Cornell. Prior to coming here, I was an organizer and representative of nurses and healthcare workers for SEIU 1199 for many years. It was so amazing and heartbreaking for me that it was the hardest job I've ever done, and so I had to leave. And I went back to graduate school, and I went to a business school. I said, I'm going to figure out how you can have good businesses that meet their bottom line and their financials and provide good jobs. And you can do both. So I've been at the ILR school now for 30 years teaching human resource management. And over the last 10 years, I've devoted all my research to healthcare. I'd be glad to share it with anyone. All of the evidence says that the better care comes from a stable workforce, low turnover, training, stable relationships with the healthcare staff. The quality of jobs equals the quality of care. Punto. And the only way you really get high quality jobs is through unionization to make sure that happens. It really is. I speak both from and in when I was organizing. The unionized nursing homes and hospitals had really low turnover rates, very stable relationships with the patients, and the non-union were just a churn mill. There's a major, major difference, and I just hope that you will support this resolution. The quality of jobs means the quality of care. It's a win for workers, the community, and management. Thank you.
Mary White.
Hi, I'm Mary White. I've lived here since the 70s. This is my home. I've raised my family here. My grandkids are grown up here. This is not just about nurses. This is about the safety of every person in this room and the entire community, the whole region. This is a regional hospital, and all of us depend on it for our safety. And I think we really need to pay attention to what our nurses need. We need nurses that are well rested, that have proper equipment. If there's an imbalance and the CEOs are paid too high, there needs to be an adjustment. We need our nurses to be in good shape all the time for the rest of us to be safe.
Lisa Levy.
Yep. Hello, I'm Lisa Levy. I want to speak from 2 perspectives. One, as a user of healthcare, luckily I haven't had to use a lot of it for serious issues, but both when I was giving birth to both my sons and when my mom had a stroke and then passed away. The most salient healthcare experiences of my life have been all about the nurses. And we know that doctors come in and they bring their incredible knowledge, but they come in for 5 minutes, 10, 15 on a good day. And all the other time is with the nurses. And I think anyone who's had any experience with healthcare in that way knows that. So just giving them their due for the incredible role they play. The second perspective I want to speak from is I went to Cornell, what's now the Dyson School, in the 80s, and I moved back here 3.5 years ago with my husband, and most of my career was spent as an organizational consultant with corporations, large nonprofits, educational institutions, and I've done some work internationally, and what I will tell you is it's so odd in the US that we see unions as the enemy. In other countries, unions are partners, that you need a balance. It's like, corporate is like you're the king. You make all the rules, all the decisions. You need a balance, and the unions provide that balance. They give this collective voice. And I would say one more thing beyond just nurses, that's the issue at hand, but we see this in all of our care work in the US. It's a train wreck. As we're getting older as a society, we have no resources for all the people that are gonna need care. And the truth is that child care workers get paid less than people who watch cars in a parking lot. That's what we think of care in the United States. It's a disgrace. And it's not this way anywhere else in the world with the kind of wealth of the country we have. So I see this as a great example of please step up for care, and in your legislative roles, please know the power you have and that you can do something here that's really going to matter and really show that care matters in our country. Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone for coming here tonight and taking time out of your evening. This really is, I've been on the legislature for 8 years, and this is the most crowded, as many people that I've ever seen. So with that said, if it's all right with our colleagues, I would love for us to move up the resolution so that we can have our debate, and these fine people that are visiting us today can see what happens. Is that all right with anyone? Anyone have issue with that? Adam?
I don't have issue with the motion for that.
I'm sorry?
I don't have issue with that.
Oh, okay, great.
Instinctively raising to motion to move it forward.
Okay, perfect. Iris, would you like to bring the resolution forward?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you again to everyone who has spoken or shown up and held signs. It's really powerful for us to hear from you and see and understand the many perspectives that you bring, and yet that you're all calling for something that, you're saying what matters to you and something that we can do. And as a newly elected legislator, I can say that, when I thought about running and I thought about what is it that I want to be able to do, this is honestly a dream that we have a platform and a voice to be able to speak to what is really important to everyone. So thank you for coming up. So I wanted to move the resolution affirming the right of workers to unionize and expressing support for Cayuga United CWA and Cayuga Medical Center nurses in their efforts to unionize for fair wages, benefits, and safe working conditions. This would be Doc ID 13799.
Can I have a seconder, please? Krista Bianchi.
Yes.
Second.
Is it okay if I speak to that?
Sure, go for it.
So I do want to add to this. As a licensed clinical social worker, I've witnessed firsthand how institutional healthcare practices can lead to burnout among staff and compromised patient care. When healthcare workers lack a collective voice, they're often powerless to address unsafe staffing ratios, inadequate resources, and unsustainable working conditions. Unionization gives workers the tools to advocate not just for themselves, but for their patients. Better working conditions for nurses means better care for our community members. This resolution affirms our county's commitment to both our healthcare workers, our healthcare workforce, and the quality of care our residents deserve. And I'm proud to support the nurses at Cayuga Medical Center and their right to organize.
Great. Okay, so it has been moved and seconded, and we're going to go back to Iris to briefly do an introduction of the resolution.
Thank you. So I wanted to present this on behalf of many of us, including most of the new legislators. This is kind of something we get to bring to start us off and express our support for the nurses. As we've heard, and every one of us in this room has been touched in some way by the nurses at this hospital. I've had kids who, of course, get injured late at night. As parents will know, kids don't get injured between 9 and 5. So the amount of stitches that we've had to go in for, right, bumps, that kind of thing. But also, my grandmother, who is actually here in the audience, and others have received care too. And we all are touched by the nurses serving us in this hospital that is the only hospital in our county of over 100,000 people. So they're really providing vital care to us. And they're not unionizing out of a sense of greed, which I think can be sometimes a misunderstanding in this country around that. It's a sense of they want to do their jobs as well as possible, and this is the way to be able to do that, to have a voice. There's so many studies, as Professor Batt mentioned, that when nurses organize, patient outcomes actually improve significantly, specifically in the time after they win an election. This is when we see declines in complications like pulmonary failure, depression, and metabolic conditions that patients could experience. Declines of 15 to 60%. So that's very significant when we think about our roles as county legislators in protecting the health of the people we represent. Patients in hospitals where nurses are unionized are 5.5% less likely to die from a heart attack, controlling for every other factor. So if we can save 1 out of 20 heart attack patients in this county by supporting the nurses, that's pretty significant. And as you have heard somewhat alluded to, the nurses are facing some opposition from management as they're trying to fight for these better patient outcomes. There's already been an unfair labor practice charge filed around a captive audience meeting that was held during a regular safety meeting that was mandatory for nurses on the floor. And what happened was hospital administration came in and then started delivering an anti-union speech during this mandatory check-in meeting. And this is taking time away from actual patient care. Similarly, I heard that there's normally a 6-hour orientation for new nurses. There was a cohort coming in, and instead of the full 6-hour training, this time management gave 1 of the 6 hours to an anti-union presentation. It makes you wonder, what 1/6 of their training are they not going to have in serving our county? And I think that what's also important to emphasize is that government support for unionizing is not new. It's not a radical idea. The National Labor Relations Act is nearly 90 years old, and it says in the preamble, it is declared to be the policy of the United States to encourage the practice and procedure of collective bargaining and protect the exercise by workers of full freedom of association. I'll skip a little, for the purpose of negotiating terms and conditions of their employment. We just took an oath to uphold the laws of the United States, the laws of this state, the Constitution. The New York State Constitution protects the right to organize, and the New York State Employment Relations Act has very similar language around protecting employees in their exercise of full freedom of association, free from interference, restraint, or coercion by their employers, which is exactly what we're hearing from the nurses is happening. So through our resolution, we want to affirm their right, and we are in a unique position to shine a light on what is happening in our county that affects the well-being of our residents, which is our constituents. The nurses have already overwhelmingly chosen to unionize. If the hospital were going to be neutral, they would have already accepted that more than 70% of workers have authorized representation, but instead they're having to go to an election next week. And that is where this support matters so much. We want the nurses to feel the energy that we have in this room right now, to know that the community is behind them. And that is why I urge all of you to vote yes on this resolution. Thank you.
So, Iris, if I could just take a second. I've had my eye on your child this whole time, and she is absolutely beaming. She's so proud of you. So I just want to point that out. She's so proud of you. Okay, any other comments on the resolution? Travis Brooks.
I mean, this is a no-brainer. For every ER visit, every hospital stay, every doctor visit, every specialist, it's the nurses. It's the nurses that greet you. It's the nurses that give you the care. It's the nurses that make sure you're okay. My visit today, my two tomorrow, it's the nurses that take care of me. So I don't know how you could not support this, so I'm definitely in favor of supporting this.
Rachel Ostlund, and then Greg Mezzi and Mike Stigler.
I first wanted to thank everyone for coming. It's really amazing to have our first day be a time where we can hear so many stories and see so many people, and just to see so many people that I know and love who work at the hospital, and it's just really special. So thank you all for being here. I absolutely support the resolution. I'm really grateful to Iris for bringing it forward. I watched the explicitly anti-union videos that QGMed continues to send the RNs through their scheduling app. And there are videos in which they condescend to their own staff, and it's implied that the RNs can't possibly know it's in their own best interest. And when watching these anti-union videos, at the end they say vote no. I mean, they're very explicitly anti-union. And it's clear that leadership at QGMed hopes to convince those watching that they do treat their RNs with compassion, support, kindness, dignity, and respect, which is what they're saying in the videos. But one excellent way for an employer to show that they truly support, trust, and respect their workforce is to respect their decision to be represented by a union, to bargain with said union, and then put forth clear and fair agreements in a contract. And so no one will believe any platitudes management puts in a video if their actions show the opposite. And I hope that the message we're sending by hopefully passing this resolution is to let leadership at QGMed know that we are watching their behavior, because this helps us understand whether the new leadership trusts and listens to their RNs, whether they value the well-being of their staff, whether they're prioritizing the care of their patients, and whether they can be a trusted partner to the county.
Greg Mezzi.
Yeah, thanks, Shauna. I'm disappointed in the leadership at QGMed at Centralis right now. They're also members of our community, and I think they should be aware of what our community values are. Their board of directors, many respected members in our community as well, should also understand what the values of our community is. This is overwhelming. I didn't grow up in a, overly union household. My schooling at the hotel school wasn't overly pro-union, but I have this award from a former legislator, the Always Evolving Award, and I look at that in this moment and sort of see the overwhelming sense that you all bring to this room and to your passion and to your profession, and it's to be recognized. And I think we should all take this moment to stand with you, because there's something going on here, and it's not something that our community should stand for. I often question sometimes, are these the type of resolutions we should be taking up? And some of us have had this conversation offline, just to some level of detail. But I absolutely think this is, because I think this is the right way for us to set the tone for what our legislature will value, and reinforce the commitment we have to our community and all of you who are out there on the front lines doing the work. So thank you. It's incredibly moving to see you all come with passion, who you're probably already exhausted from a shift that you've already either worked or about to work. And so I want to express my disappointment with leadership and management at QGMed Medical, because you deserve better leaders in this moment. You deserve better systems and better tools and better resources. And if your leadership can't see that, then they're really missing the mark about what makes our community and our hospital so special. So I hope this really works out for all of you, and I hope that the leadership who know better hear loud and clear that this is not how we do business in Tompkins County.
Mike Sigler.
Hi, thank you, Shauna. Just want to start by saying, I support every worker's right to unionize. I believe it's a natural right. It's protected by the First Amendment. Beyond that, I also support the nurses in this case and their efforts to unionize. I mean, I don't know all the details behind the drive. We've heard some of those tonight. But I would say that, if I was a nurse at Centralis, I would likely join this union. I am not, however, a nurse at Centralis. But that's why I want to thank so many people for coming out today to talk about this, because coming in here, I have one major concern. And the concern is that it's one thing for myself as a legislator to go and walk a picket line, which I've done. It's another for government to kind of weigh in on this issue, just because here we are saying to the employer, you're not legally allowed to weigh into this issue. I do find it difficult then to say that a government entity, not myself, but a government entity should weigh into what's supposed to be a negotiation, a vote that's free from interference. With that said, some of you spoke so eloquently about this, and that it wasn't so much that you were looking for support in the way that I think would make that construct difficult. You were asking for support from people in your community, and really just for a fair shot at having a vote and getting this vote done legally and without interference. And I certainly can get behind that. And I was just so impressed by what the last person that spoke actually said. I have always looked at unions as not adversarial. I know that people like to put the fist onto shirts and to say, and to put it into an adversarial scope. I have always looked at it like the last woman speaker said, that it's a partnership. And our rural hospitals are struggling, and that doesn't mean that it should be put on the backs of our nurses or our doctors or the staff of the hospitals. We're all going to have to bear that weight. And I think we need a partnership going forward, and I actually think in this case the union will advance that as opposed to take away from it. So I do want to thank you all for coming. It actually was very meaningful to me. It definitely helped me kind of wrestle with that problem I had with this resolution. So thank you.
Dan Wakeman, and then I have Veronica Pillar, Deborah Dawson, and Irene Weiser.
Thank you, Shauna. I, as other legislatures have already voiced, am very moved by the support that is in this room. Thank you. Your comments mean a lot. I had submitted an amendment to what was originally in the agenda on this, and I just want to read that out at this point here. Just to clarify, this clarifies some language, sets apart our official documented county values, and I think reiterates one of our resolves. The last whereas supporting the right to unionize aligns with Tompkins County values of equity and respect, and also fairness and commitment to community well-being. And then the second resolved would then say, resolve further that the Tompkins County Legislature reminds Cayuga Medical Center to adhere to all labor laws and remain neutral in advance of the upcoming union election. Those are that is the amendment change, and that was submitted, and I believe everybody has a copy.
Okay. Is that friendly to the mover and the seconder?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone that disagrees? Okay. That is now going to be our amended copy, and that is in your red folders for legislators. Anything else, Dan?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Veronica Pillar.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming, especially those of you who are nurses or used to be nurses. Although I think a lot more just understand that this is a relevant issue, that we all have a direct stake in the issue of the nurses union and their conditions. like Shauna said, this is the most people I've ever seen in this room. This is wonderful. I know, I guess others have spoke to the, like, is this an issue we should be taking up, or does it matter to, like, make a resolution that makes a statement? But I think I'm glad to hear people saying, yes, this obviously, the statement matters to our community. If it didn't, our community would not be here right now. Y'all would be doing, I don't know, something more fun. And just as a, as a local government body, our support does send a powerful message. People listen to the things we say. Like, our statements that are just statements make headlines on a regular basis. And it really affects how people feel. I know for me, I'm not a healthcare worker, but I am a patient at CMC, like so many others. I'm going there for a minor surgery in about a month. Totally no big deal, shouldn't be complications, but it's gonna be vulnerable. There's gonna be people I've barely met rearranging the insides of my body a little bit, which is a big deal. And it matters that the folks, the nurses who are gonna care for me there have the support and the time and the supplies they need to do their job well. I'm not worried about the nurses caring for me well. I've always had good experiences. And I think that, they should be supported and they should get to say what that looks like. Hospital management does work that contributes to keeping the hospital going, at least in its current model, but it's not frontline care work. It doesn't put the management in a good place to decide how should the frontline care be going, what exactly do the nurses need, how should they be scheduled. It's y'all, the nurses, who are in the place to decide that. And so I'm glad you're organizing. I'm hopeful that you'll win. Good luck in the election next week, and I support this resolution.
Deborah Dawson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had promised that I would read the Cayuga United CWA mission statement. So I'm going to do that now so we understand what's at stake and why our nurses are pushing this so hard. We, the registered nurses of Cayuga Medical Center, are committed to providing the highest quality of care possible to each and every patient who enters our door. It is essential that we, the frontline workers, have a voice that is heard by the administration of Cayuga Medical Center. By joining CWA, we seek to unify our voice and empower our nurses so we may consistently provide positive patient outcomes, improve job satisfaction, and ensure the retention of quality nurses. By unionizing, we can bolster our efforts to retain passionate nurses and continue to attract aspiring healthcare workers who can afford to live and work in our community, while strengthening a trusting relationship with the public we serve. In order to achieve this vision, we are seeking safe staffing and an end to chronic understaffing that puts our licenses, patients, and work-life balance at risk. Fair and transparent pay and raises with respect to years of experience and cost of living. Comprehensive benefits, equitable holiday and PTO scheduling, compensation for flexed staffing, an end to the hemorrhage of competent quality nurses from our hospital. True adherence to employment contracts, respect for and adherence to our scope of practice, protected and standardized orientation scheduling, guaranteed lunch breaks that don't require unsafe temporary staff shortages, pay that matches national standards and honors longevity, and a seat at the table and a voice in hospital policy. I just think it's really important that y'all understand what's at stake here. It's not about employees wanting higher pay for the sake of higher pay. The predictability and security and safety that a good union contract provides makes everyone better at their job. They can relax and focus on what they're getting paid to do. And that's something we should be supporting. And don't clap because The rules of this legislature actually say that when we have public comment, we're not supposed to have reaction. We're giving y'all a break tonight because I know that this is important to all of you and this is the first meeting, but I don't want to set a dangerous precedent here. So anyway, good luck, nurses. Thank you.
I'm glad we have a good cop and a bad cop.
Yeah.
Where's the bad cop tonight? Okay. Next, we have Irene Weiser, and then Judith Hubbard.
Great, thanks. And thanks to everyone who's come out tonight. I mean, there aren't words. There really aren't for what you all do for all of us every day and every night. And so thank you. And something became clear to me tonight that I've heard the expression before, but I felt it tonight and it was powerful. And that the expression is union strong. And that was present tonight, and it was an important and powerful thing. It was not only the nurses and the people, it was other unions. It's the teachers, it's the laborers, it's all of us coming together. And what I felt in this room, in addition to just the deep, deep gratitude to all of you for your work, is I felt the pulse of democracy coming back. I felt our opportunity to take this country back from the oligarchy and corporatism that is ruining our lives for the sake of profits. And so I just want to, I don't know to what extent you guys tapped into that, but that was here for me tonight, and I want to thank you for bringing all of that and for bringing hope to me as a legislator moving forward. And let's just keep that pulse and that hope alive in this county, and let's let it spread across this country. Thank you. And if it isn't clear, I'm supporting you guys as well.
Next is Judith Hubbard.
I was born at Keegan Medical Center. And when I had my first child, not at Keegan Medical Center, he was born 7 weeks early, and he spent 5 weeks in the NICU. So we spent 5 weeks, going through one of the worst, best, everything time of our life. And at the time, it was really the nurses that taught us things like how to change the diaper of a baby that weighed 3 pounds and how to breastfeed a baby that tiny, and who took care of him when we went home. We had the best child care of my life when my baby was in the NICU. And I think about the people who go to the Keegan Medical Center now. Some of them are going in to have a baby, and some are going in because something's gone terribly wrong. And it's always the nurses that they need in that moment. The nurses are the ones who are taking care of them at the time that's the hardest for them. And I just don't see how we could expect the nurses to be that source of support if they aren't being supported themselves. So obviously I'm voting yes.
Great. Lee Shurtleff.
Couple points of disclosure. My twin is a nurse and has worked in the emergency rooms at local hospitals and still is affiliated. I served for 15 years on the board of another local hospital, so I see this from a number of perspectives. And of course, most of you here know that what I do on the side, both from a career profession and volunteer, and I'm in and out of that hospital a minimum of once a week and sometimes a half a dozen times. So my interaction with the staff and especially the nurses is fairly significant. But let me bring this just a little bit closer to home. This legislature is going to have to wrestle with the emergency medical services issues in months and years ahead. And we've had some rather expensive ideas suggested and don't know where that will go. But I do know one thing, is that key to solving the difficulties in emergency medical services is going to be the involvement of all levels, especially the hospital. And not pointing fingers, not saying where the problems are, because there are a lot of them in a lot of different places, but having the nurses at the table, having all people at the table, and understanding and strengthening that organization by which this resolution supports, I think helps us as well in the challenges that we have, and I'll be supporting it.
Great. Okay. Are there any other legislators that would like to comment? Okay. I just want to say how absolutely thrilled I am that our eight new legislators have come forth with this resolution, and it's exciting, and it sets the bar really high for future meetings. I mean, I can't imagine we're going to have another meeting where this legislature is crammed. Yes to everything my colleagues have said. There's nothing I could say more that would add to the conversation at this point. Good luck on your elections next week, and obviously we stand with you. So we are going to do a roll call vote, if that's all right with everyone. And again, we're going to vote on resolution affirming the right of workers to unionize and expressing support for Cayuga United CWA and Cayuga Medical Center nurses in their efforts to unionize for fair wages, benefits, and safe working conditions. And that's ID 13799 and the amended copy that's in your folder. Roll call, please.
Christy Bianconi? Yes. Travis Brooks?
Yes.
Randy Brown?
Yes.
Deborah Dawson?
Yes.
Judith Hubbard?
Yes.
John Hunt?
Yes.
Greg Mezzi?
Yes.
Rachel Oslin?
Yes.
Iris Packman?
Yes.
Veronica Pillar?
Yes.
Lee Shurtleff?
Yes.
Mike Sigler?
Yes.
Adam Vinson?
Yes.
Dan Wakeman?
Yes.
Irene Weiser?
Yes.
Shauna Black?
Yes.
16 ayes.
16 ayes, and that is unanimous. The resolution passes. Congratulations. And we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. My guess is other people don't want to stay for our full meeting, so we'll give you time to go home.
Hey. The way to open. Congratulations.
Nobody wants to learn about the grid.
Okay, that's it.
Stop.
Okay, we have the thumbs up from Rob.
Nobody here. My mom is
She's going to be very crazy.
We're good to go.
All right, relations.
We're going to come up with
Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and start our meeting up again. We are live. And let's see here. We do not have municipal officials here from the city this evening, so we're going to skip that part of our meeting. Boy, who would believe at 7:03 how dead our legislature chamber is? That is absolutely shocking. I bet there's Paul. There's Paul, which we're always gracious to have.
And we're grateful because he brought us a cinnamon cake.
Thank you, Paul.
He was worried that Dan's departure would leave us starving.
It's true. Katrina made cookies, though. But thank you, Paul. Okay, next we're going to have legislator privilege of the floor. Would anyone like to speak on legislator privilege of the floor? Start us off. Judith Hubbard.
Over the last year, the fate of the Museum of the Earth has been in question when their major donor pulled out. And I am pleased to report that just about a week ago, the director of the museum has announced they've managed to successfully fundraise to pay off their mortgage. And we are not going to lose the Museum of the Earth or the Paleontological Research Institute or the Nature Center, all of which I think have been under threat. In this time of great uncertainty for science, it's especially important to have these resources for our children and our community to be able to learn about the history of life on Earth. And my daughter is going there with her 5th grade class tomorrow on a field trip. Cool. So I am delighted.
Great. Okay, Irene Weiser.
Yeah, I have a couple of updates related to our utility, NYSEG, and overall just some work that I've been doing on the side. So the NYSEG rate case is underway, and I just wanted to let folks know that it has now entered a stage of negotiations where stakeholders such as the county and myself under the rubric of fossil-free Tompkins and other stakeholders, and most importantly, the Department of Public Service and their staff are entering into negotiations with NYSEG to see what can be done to bring the rate increase down. And I cannot disclose what happens in the confidential negotiations, but I did want to let you know that they are ongoing, and that has been publicly noticed, so I can tell you that. And that the negotiations are going to take place for at least a month. May or may not get extended further than that, unknown, but again, it's been publicly noticed that they will continue for a month. So I just wanted to let people know that that's going on, and I'm in there fighting for reduced rates and more accountability. The other thing that's been going on, some of you maybe know that actually I missed some sort of meeting or party or something that was going on because I testified at a Senate hearing on oversight of the Public Service Commission in relation to utilities and affordability. And we just had a meeting yesterday, a virtual meeting with Senator Comrie to continue discussions as to what kinds of reforms we'd like to see at the Public Service Commission to have them be more accountable to providing affordability, reliability, and oversight of the utilities. So I'm happy to say that I'm involved in that. I did also, you guys, I prepared just some remarks for being here, and I'll just, I'm going to do them, but I just want to preface because I'm not usually weepy, and when I read these to myself to time it and make sure that I was under 2 minutes because I don't want to take up a lot of this time, I got weepy. I don't know if I'm going to get weepy now or if I'm all cried out, but anyhow, it is just such an absolute honor to be sitting here tonight. Yeah, I'm going to get weepy. For the past 7 months, I know many of you have seen me in this room as an observer, watching and listening and learning. And I can honestly say that being in this chair as part of this august body feels very different. And it's an honor unlike anything I've known before. People keep asking me, are you excited to be starting on the legislature? And I've never quite known what to say because I haven't felt excited. I ran on the platform of experience, that experience matters. And what's happened over the past several months, and especially over these past few weeks as we've been interacting more as colleagues, I've come to appreciate something very deeply about just how much experience already lives in this room. Among legislators who have served here for years, and among those of us who are new. We all bring a lot. And especially, I see it multiplied many times over in our amazing, extraordinary, talented, smart, and dedicated county staff. They talked about the nurses being the lifeblood of the hospital more so than the doctors. You guys are what makes our work possible in that same way. So thank you for that. And so anyhow, what I've been feeling isn't excitement as much as deep respect and humility. And honestly, just a sense of awe at the seriousness of the responsibility we carry and the care and thought that goes into the work, and awe at our collective commitment to serving something larger than ourselves. I'm proud to be joining as we work together to serve the people of Tompkins County, its families and businesses, farms and villages, and this beautiful land that we are all entrusted to protect and sustain. So I'm grateful to the voters for the trust that has been placed in me, and I look forward to working alongside of each and every one of you with openness, respect, and a shared commitment to serving the interests of this precious place we all call home.
Thank you, Irene. Yeah. Very nice. Anyone else for legislator privilege of the floor tonight? Okay. Boy, this is a really easy group. We're going to be out of here every legislature meeting at 8 o'clock. I can feel it. I can feel it right now.
Just jinxed it. Yeah, you just ruined it.
I totally ruined it. Yep. Okay, next we are going to move on to, I do not have a chair's report, nor do I have appointments. We do not have topical presentations or discussions this evening. We're going to move on to reports from our county administration, starting with Corsa Kumpfi, who is our county administrator. I was looking for you right over here, but you've moved up or down, depending on how you'd like to think of it.
I'm at the edge right now, so more fun. I don't have any data report. I just want to say I'm excited for the new faces and the ability to work with all of you. I remember exactly 1 year ago, I was sitting right there, and there was a gentleman here with his dog, and who was kicked out of a hotel, and we couldn't find a place for him. And that was my first legislature meeting. And being here a year and not having that as an issue, I'm very excited about what we have been able to achieve in 1 year and continue to work together on many things that confront all of us. So thank you all for the chance to be here, and I look forward to 2026 and all the fun that we're going to have together. So good luck, and let's get it done.
That's right. Also, Corsa, I just want to send our appreciation. You and your staff have been absolutely wonderful. I know that you've been meeting with the new group of legislators, and the feedback that I've received has been absolutely incredible. From the knowledge that your staff knows, to sharing, to being patient, answering all the questions. I think it's really established some great relationships for the future. So please send our appreciation to your staff.
Thank you, Rhoda.
Greg Mezzi.
Yeah, I just also want to give Corsa a shout out. Was it Christmas Day or Christmas Eve that you and your family cooked for the folks in Code Blue? Christmas Day. I think that shows quite a bit of leadership and commitment to doing the right thing. I know you didn't do it for the recognition, but I think it's worthy to note that even at the top of our organization, the humanitarian and the right thing matters. So I appreciate you and your family taking that on and bringing a little bit of the Christmas spirit or the holiday spirit, winter spirit, whatever spirit it is that you bring with you to folks during that time. So thank you.
Wow, it's really nice. Any questions or comments for Corsa? Okay. Next, we're going to move on to our County Attorney, Maury Josephson.
Good evening. I also don't have a detailed report, but as a matter of irony, Brittany had stopped in, the Commissioner of Social Services, to welcome the new legislators and reminded me that we have an appointment to talk about service dogs this week.
Oh, great.
The issues are ongoing. The work is ongoing. I look forward to working with each and every one of the new members of the legislature and each and every one of the continuing members of the legislature. My office philosophy is that the door is open. If you have an idea, a question, or anything that comes to mind that you'd like to discuss relative to the county, feel free to call me, our Deputy Holly Mosier, or anyone else on our office staff, and you will get our attention. Look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maury. Any questions for Maury? Questions or comments? Okay. Next, we have Director of Finance, Daryl Tuttle. You might have a smile on his face. He just came back from Disney.
Yes, and it was a fantastic trip.
That's good.
Apparently, I'm the only one with a report, but before I talk about that report, I haven't had the opportunity to meet the new legislators yet, but I know that'll come soon, and I look forward to it and talking about my department and what we do. My report for today, though, is on November sales tax. If you just give me a minute, I'm going to share it on the screen. I find it a little easier to...
This is in all of our packets as well.
Correct. And it starts with, I believe it's packet page 4. So this is for the November sales tax. And first off, for total of November 2025, the total county sales tax collected was $6,544,000, which is actually, if you compare it to November of last year, is a 1.69% increase. Now, if you look at year-to-date numbers, so January through November, we collected $75,467,000, which compared to 2024 is 3.93%. Now, as to just the county share, we collected $3.681 million, which follows the same percent as the total, which is 1.69%. Now, looking at a year-to-date, it's $42,450,000, which is a 3.93% increase over 2024. Now, when you look at the municipalities, which does not include the city, for November, we collected $1,464,000, which was actually a decrease of 0.9% compared to November of 2024. The year-to-date, though, is $17,393,000, which is a 4.64% increase compared to 2024's year-to-date. And now the city of Ithaca, total collected was $1,398,000, which is a 4.55% increase. From from November to November, and the year-to-date is $15,623,000, which is an increase of 3.14% comparing year-to-date 2024 to 2025. Now, we budgeted in 2024 for the unallocated portion of the sales tax, $43,240,000, and currently we're at $40,019,000, which is actually 92.55%, which is a little above what we should be if you just take 11 months divided by 12, which would have been 91.6%. Now, the next page is just a more visual effect of the same information that shows kind of graphs with 2022 through 2025 of each month and where the sales tax collection was. And then on the bottom is if you took that same information but kind of compared it to the budget in a monthly rather than in a graph form. So, does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for Daryl? Irene?
Yeah, this may be tangential, I'm not quite sure, but NYSEG charges us something called a gross receipts tax, which is, I believe that it's only certain parts of the county that collect a gross receipts tax. I don't think that every municipality does, and it has to do with the sale of the electricity or gas that they're providing. And I wonder, two things. I wonder if that's incorporated into this accounting, and then also if you know how much overall we do collect from NYSEG and gross receipts tax through the county.
Any tax is included in these figures other than the room tax. So I can verify to make sure, but I would believe any sales tax charged upon the sale of utilities should be on there. As to the term gross receipts tax, I'm not 100% sure, but I can look into it. And also to see if there's anything that details a little more information I can look into as well.
Great, thanks. And then just, by the way, folks, there's also a property tax that NYSEG pays to every municipality for the infrastructure that exists in that municipality, so.
Great. Judith Hubbard and then Dan Wakeman.
I see on the chart that there's some sort of cyclic pattern with, one high month, two low months, one high month, two low months, but not in this last September. Is that because people buy things more in those months, or is it because that's how we receive the money from where it's being collected?
I believe it's a combination of both. I mean, as December tends to spike up because of the holidays. Now, there are also some reconciliations that happen throughout that sometimes swings both ways, like the third quarter of 2025, we had a decrease of over $1 million of a reconciliation, and that had to do with the formula that New York uses to kind of amortize the sales tax as they collect it throughout the year.
Next is Dan Wakeman.
Daryl, at some point, not right now, I would like to understand better how this breaks down in terms of what's collected for what and how it splits out to the municipalities.
There is a sales tax diagram collection that I can provide all of you guys when we meet, and we can go over and answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Daryl? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you. Next in our agenda, we are going to move on to, typically this would be the time that we would do our consent agenda, but we do not have resolutions, so we're going to move on to our standing and special committees. Since some of the chairs have left, we're going to the vice chairs, and for some committees, it's just a single member that is remaining. And so we're going to start off with the Budget, Capital, and Personnel Committee. Deborah Dawson, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just a shout out to Mike Lane, because I think he's watching. We miss him. Anyway, yeah, BCP will not be meeting this month as far as I know, and we will reconvene in February with new members, and I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Any questions for Deborah or comments? Okay, next is the Community Recovery Fund Advisory Committee. Deborah Dawson, Vice Chair.
Yes, here I am again. Vice Chair seems to be my theme for this evening. Yeah, the Community Recovery Fund Advisory Committee will be discontinued since most of its work is finished. There is a question remaining about a fairly substantial piece of our grant that will be dealt with, I think, in BCP.
Great. Any questions or comments on the Community Recovery Fund Committee?
I'd just
John
like
Hunt?
to say that as people are presenting, I'm writing down the little acronyms that they use for each one of these committees so that when they do use them in the future, I know what they're talking about.
That's a great point, and we will try and remember to not use the acronyms.
I have been meaning to send out a list to all of you newly elected folks because without Ann Corman here to remind us that acronyms are poison.
Yes.
We may forget.
Okay. Any other questions on the Community Recovery Fund? Okay, next we're going to move to the Downtown Facilities Special Committee. That's Randy Brown as the chair.
Yeah, we didn't meet in December, and we're not meeting in January. We may never meet again.
Boy, Randy, you really know how to give a report.
It's a great breakup line, Randy.
Wow. Okay, any questions for Randy? Okay, to be continued. Facilities and Infrastructure Committee, Lee Shirtliff, Chair.
Facilities and Infrastructure, F&I, John. And I can promise you that committee will meet again. That's great. We have not met since early December, and I'm not aware of any business, and we have not scheduled a meeting for the month of January.
Okay, any questions for Lee? Okay. Next, the very, very important Government Operations Committee that has the single committee resolution, Greg Mezzi, member.
As the designated survivor of the Government Operations Committee, otherwise known as GO, I would like to move Resolution A, Doc ID 13724, and it's establishing 2026 meeting dates.
Seconded by Travis Brooks.
With this, I would also like to propose an amendment that line 17, we remove the July 7th, 2026 meeting. So I guess I'll move that and then speak to it.
Okay.
Second.
Travis seconded. Oh, you're doing an amendment?
Yeah.
Okay. Deborah will second the amendment. Is that all right? Is that friendly with the seconder, Travis? To remove the July.
Well, seeing that I'm sitting in Mike Lane's chair.
Oh, yes.
Kind of struggling with this one. It is friendly. It's friendly.
Okay.
So I guess, Sean, could I ask that we not take this as a friendly?
Yeah, can I say it's not friendly just to open
Sure
discussion?
thing. Okay, so we'll take it out as an amendment, and then Greg will speak to the amendment.
The reason we historically and have done this, and there has been some level of debate over this, if you watch back historically, this provides our just sort of a natural break point with the July 4th holiday for staff to maybe get a deep breath. I will say that our second meeting in July is typically very busy and very full because we do have a delayed, business. In the event that we would need one, we can always add one back in. But historically, we have provided this as an opportunity for staff and the legislature and the clerks to have a little bit of a holiday around summertime and the July 4th holiday as well.
Thank you, Greg. So right now, we're going to speak to the amendment, and that is, again, taking out the date of July 7th from our meeting list. Would anyone like to speak on the amendment? Deborah Dawson?
Yeah, I would just like to add that this is primarily for the benefit of staff, because any one of us who need to be out of town or are on vacation, there's 16 of us, and one or more of us won't be missed. But, staff's essential. These meetings take up a lot of their time sometimes, and they need a break from us. So this is why we do that.
Any questions or comments on the amendment? Okay, I see none. Let's go ahead and vote for the amendment. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Mike Lane would be proud of you, Travis.
7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, and I'll be 14. Those against the amendment, please raise your hand. 2. That's going to pass 14-2. So now we're going to move forward with the resolution with the amendment, and that was with the July 7th date taken out.
Sean, if I may, just of note, the March 19th meeting will be a Thursday because of the NISAC conference. And then also the November 5th will be a Thursday meeting because Election Day is November 3rd.
Hey, Greg, what is NISAC?
NISAC is the New York State Association of Counties, and it's their annual conference, which all first-time legislators are granted free admission to. So hope to see you there.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the resolution as amended? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those against the resolution? Okay, that is 15-1. Thank you. That passes.
I would also like to continue on in my committee report in the spirit of Amanda Champion and read an hour-long dissertation on why the rules of the legislature matter, but I will spare you all and do that at home in front of the mirror for my own satisfaction. I have nothing else to report.
Thank you. So we brought forth Amanda, Mike Lane.
It's like we're conjuring spirits.
We need to bring Rich and Dan. We brought Dan.
No, Dan was mentioned with the cake.
Okay, so it's Rich's turn.
Yeah. We'll do that when we get to public safety.
Okay, we got this. Health and Human Services, Travis Brooks, Chair.
We met in December, and I guess the group will get back together in February.
Okay, any questions for Travis or comments? Okay, next, Housing and Economic Development Committee, Greg Mezzi, Chair.
Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't going to let this month go by without a meeting. We have some time-sensitive resolutions to address as it relates to accepting of some grant funding, and then also the issuance of our Community Housing Development Fund, round 25 and round 24 and 25 awards. We also will have a housing and urban development update, and we'll have a presentation on the new ithacatrails.org. So take a look at that. And then also our 2024 housing snapshot. You're wondering probably why we're doing this in 26. We had a long meeting in 2025 where we would have addressed that, but we're typically a year behind in looking at our housing snapshot. So that'll all take place here in the chambers Wednesday, January 7th at 3 p.m. That's tomorrow for those of you playing along, and look forward to seeing everybody there.
Thank you, Greg. Any questions or comments for Greg? And the reason why Greg's able to have a committee also is there are enough returning legislators that are part of his committee. So. Okay, next is Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality Committee. Veronica Pillar, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality Committee, also known as PEEQ, which is how you pronounce P-E-E-Q, hasn't met since our last legislature meeting, and we are also not meeting in January. But I would like to draw your attention to, I think all the legislators got an email from Katie Borgella, perhaps by way of Deborah Dawson, with a whole bunch of video links to the presentations that people from our Planning and Sustainability Department have been doing over the course of 2025. And this was arranged primarily by Annie Corman, the last year's chair of this committee. So now we've invoked her, which is great. And these were, in among the regular business of the committee, these were sort of overview presentations of work the department is doing, but topic by topic, so it wasn't overwhelming. So I'd encourage you all to check that out, whether you'll be on the committee or not. We also had some similar types of presentations from Recycling and Materials Management, which is the only other department that reports to Peak. I don't have the URLs for those at hand, unfortunately. And that's it.
Thank you, Veronica.
Recycling and Materials.
Any questions or comments for Veronica? Okay, thank you. Next is the Public Safety Committee, and I was the vice chair of that. We did meet in December, and we had a wish list of things we would, if money were no issue, that we could wish on. And of course, it was everything from a detox center to a new public safety building, to endless rapid response, county EMT service. What else, Mike Sigler and Veronica and Lee? Am I forgetting things that are on the wish list?
I know we are. But
Yeah.
I have a note to myself to rewatch the meeting for that reason.
Okay. Yes, so we did some wishing, and of course, it's all just time and money that we need to figure out our wish list. And then, of course, the next public safety meeting will be in February with the new committee members. The Tiger Committee, or the Tompkins.
Sorry, to invoke Rich John, I'd love to share the jail statistics.
Yes, thank you. Very good.
As of today, we've got 64 people housed in our jail with 4 board outs.
Okay, good to know. Okay, next is the Tompkins Are there any questions for the Public Safety Committee? I didn't want to make exception for myself. Okay. The Tompkins Intergovernmental Relations Committee, we have not met since October. I did want to remind all of you to check your emails because we do have some upcoming meetings scheduled with some of our state officials. Friday, the 13th or 16th? At 3, Anna Cullis is going to meet with all of us in the chambers here. And I believe we're also going to meet with Senator Webb that day as well, but we're working on figuring out a time. So keep that date open, and also make a list of questions, comments that you would like to share with our representatives. They're happy to hear from us. And I'm not sure that the Tiger Committee will be in existence in February, but we will continue to do the lobbying because that's a really important part of our job. So next is Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Veronica Pillar, Chair.
Thank you. I know I'm between us and adjournment, but I'm going to be slightly longer here because Workforce Diversity Inclusion, we call it WDIC, Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And I want to briefly read its purpose because it is a strange beast. It is not, despite being on this list of committees, it is not, as many of you know, a committee of legislators, and it is not a standing committee of the legislature. It is a advisory committee, somewhere between an advisory board and a special committee.
It's a unicorn.
I guess. It's its own beast. The purpose is, paraphrasing from the bylaws, to serve in an advisory capacity to the Tompkins County Legislature, the Affirmative Action Officer, Commissioner of Human Resources, the County Administrator, the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer, and department heads on issues relating to diversity and inclusion in employment and service within the Tompkins County workforce. Also to encourage equality of treatment in employment and customer service within Tompkins County on any basis, and to discourage discrimination, and to assist the legislature in fulfilling the goals of its diversity, equity, and inclusion policy and of the county strategic plan. WDIC has 13 seats on it, and they're filled by a mix of legislators, other county staff members, and just other people who are not employed by the county but have a experience and interest in diversity and inclusion in the workforce. We call them community members, but this is not to say that the rest of our legislators and staff are not members of the community. The legislative membership on WDIC is chosen in the same way that membership of the other committees is chosen, which is by the chair of the legislature after consultation with all the legislators. The number of legislators can vary. I think 4 would be a great number, given the plethora of legislators we have this year. 3 would be okay on the committee. The minimum required is 2, and 2 is the minimum of staff members and minimum of community members to serve on the board, and that leaves 7 at-large seats. And the staff and community members are appointed the way members of other advisory board appointments are, which you'll see if you haven't. So that's what WDIC is. We also have met since the last legislature meeting. We met on Thursday, December 18th, and heard presentations from 2 different departments on their equity indicators that they established last year in partnership with our Chief Equity and Diversity Officer, and are tracking in an ongoing way. We heard from county administration, and we heard from the Department of Human Resources and had some good discussion. And then we had a general discussion on our stated goals from 2025 and preliminary brainstorming of goals for 2026. We will most likely be meeting in January, since given the membership, most of the membership is not changing with the term of the legislature, and I lost track of the date, but it will be, when is it? It's the 28th, there we go. January 28th, 3 p.m. Typically meets 4th Wednesdays at 3 p.m., although it hasn't in a while due to holidays. And that's all.
Thank you, Veronica. Any questions or comments for Veronica? Okay. We have already voted on the individual member filed resolution. And next we have the minutes of our previous meeting, December 16th, 2025. All legislators can vote on that, even if you were not here. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Greg Mezzi, seconded by Veronica Pillar. Any questions, comments, corrections for those meeting minutes? Okay, I see none. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. As far as unfinished business, I just wanted to remind you all that we are going to have a special meeting next Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. We more than likely will not be voting during that meeting. And I also want to let you know that either tonight or tomorrow, you'll be receiving an email from Deborah Dawson that will go into depth over the committees that we're thinking of, as well as sign up times to meet one-on-one with us over the next week or so to talk about committee preferences and placements and answer your questions. So just want to give you all the heads up for that. Is there any other unfinished business? Travis Brooks?
I do have something that I forgot to share earlier, if I can now. Sure. Next Saturday is January 17th. It is the annual MLK celebration at GIAC. It's the longest running MLK celebration in upstate New York. It's from 9:30 to 2 o'clock. There's workshops, guest speakers, breakfast, lunch, all the things. I'll send everybody out a flyer tomorrow. For new legislators, it's a great way to come out and meet the community. It is an election year, so there'll be a lot of people, but it's a great way to connect with people from all over the community. They have childcare, so if you have young ones, they can go play while you hang out at the event. I hope to see all of you there. I know I'll see Mr. Sigler. He's there every year. Yes, sir. 32, you said? 9:30 to 2. I'll send out information tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Travis. Any other business this evening? Okay, can I? Yeah, sure, Maury.
I forgot to mention something earlier too, which is it was a wonderful event on New Year's Day for Ithaca Community Recovery. It was a polar bear plunge in the lake, and I congratulate Legislator Pillar and any other legislators who I didn't see there who took the plunge into the 38-degree water and came out smiling.
Oh, that was shock. Good job, Veronica. Great. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Greg, seconded by Randy Brown. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, first meeting is done. Thank you all. Have a great night.